The trailer from the E3 Direct brought a lot of joy to many fans of Shin Megami Tensei. It was great, the first time we saw what the game was after all this time, but this was also met with a lot of hostility. People were quick to disregard the game and immediately make accusations and assumptions that were just not true. Words were thrown left and right, first at the game, but then it started to leak into discussions and conversations between people, causing the flames of war to ignite. What is with all this drama? We shouldn't be resorting to the same level of toxicity displayed by those who play highly competitive video games. We should instead be guiding people to the desired result through kind actions and words. But we just don't live in a world like that, do we? All these clueless sheep that come from Persona or other JRPGs who are curious about Shin Megami Tensei V should be informed about what the series is, rather than just shut down by others because they don't know. Now, I know I haven't been the best person at this with the 2 rip-off videos I made in jest of what some people said during the E3 presentation. But I never meant ill will towards anyone. I just wanted to make people laugh and have a good time. Personally, I never thought that video would be problematic, because something you guys probably never thought about, but remember, I come from a different culture than most of you guys, and comedic media like this is very common in Australia. Here down under, we even have the guts to say these kind of things in jest of our politicians, and a lot of us love these kind of things because we think it's hilarious. Speaking of culture, there are a butt-ton of discussions around the new protagonist. I honestly wanted to keep my nose out of this one, but I feel like I need to be a teacher and stop the infighting between people over a bloody video game character. The protag, as far as I'm aware, is a boy, and I'm pretty sure of it. I don't speak Japanese, but I've seen multiple sources that state that Japanese trailers refer to the protagonist as a male. Now, Resident, you're probably wondering, where does the culture part come in? And, well, respected viewer, it comes in right now. Before I go on, this information I learnt was relevant just last year. I assume they haven't changed things from then. If they have, I couldn't find anything more recent, and I apologize in advance, but here we go. In the majority of schools in Japan, the boys' uniform and the girls' uniform are only allowed to be worn by the gender they received at birth. Apparently, 1/3 of schools are starting to abolish this over there, but you know, it's slow, and it only started happening very recently. You might also have heard more horror stories from Japanese schools like this one, where the students have to dye their hair black, even if it's naturally another color. Japanese schools are kind of brutal. They have a lot of rules that you have to follow, right? And, you know, I couldn't tell you all why the reason they have to dye their hair is, you know. And I don't live there, so I can't really tell you. But if I had to guess, apparently you might get bullied for being a foreigner, so that might come into play. Getting back to the uniform thing, though, the developers at Atlus probably still conform to boys' uniform equals boy and girls' uniform equals girl. And not out of anything against, you know, the LGBT community. More so it's that they're not experienced the change and that attitude is still embedded into their brains. Also, a side note, you gotta remember, guys, their progression over there and our progression in the West is vastly different. They're going through things at their own pace, and we're going through things at our own pace. You can't just assume that one is the same as the other. Oh god, I feel like I'm gonna get roasted for that. Moving on, there is also something else interesting with their culture, and that is the presence of flamboyant men in their media. There are a lot of skinny, kind of girly looking boys in a lot of anime, and there is a good reason for this, because over there, women eat that shit up like no tomorrow. They would rather this kind of, how do I put it, whimsical man to a strong, well-built, tough guy. This demographic is why Raiden was created and put into Metal Gear Solid, and it's probably the reason why the SMT 5 protag looks like that. There might be other reasons for sure, and I may be totally wrong. The sources I've seen claiming that the protag is male could have just been some people getting angry at the situation. However, I do believe that the protagonist is male, and not just because of these points, it's also because Atlus hasn't really put a female as their headliner, or anything that is kind of off the spectrum, and just up and doing it for 5 would be a huge risk for them. I honestly believe that they never even thought about that kind of thing when developing the Shin Megami Tensei V protagonist, and was more worried about how they'd appeal the game to a female audience, so bam, long-haired protag. All this talk about the protag, and I'm honestly probably fueling it rather than trying to come to a conclusion based off the information that I have, but it's just hurting people's relationship with the game. I do still think it's important for people to have their own free thoughts about it, don't get me wrong, but I also feel that it's a problem that sparks argument for no good reason. I think the best solution is to just say, I like the protag, and move on before somebody just goes, don't you know this is a male protag and you shouldn't be shoving those stupid values onto my video game, because honestly, that's just kind of toxic, and it's not my vibe at all, and I hate seeing it. Wow, this rant has sure gone on for a while, so I should start wrapping it up now. Shin Megami Tensei V is a lot of needless drama within the Shin Megami Tensei fandom for a multitude of reasons. These kind of things are honestly making me wish partially that the trailer never came out, as I'm seeing people get hurt and offended left, right, and center over a video game that hasn't even come out yet. The internet sure is a dangerous place when people can just say whatever they want without filters, isn't it? In my ideal world, so many people would just be on the hype train and not trying to stir the pot to put people on edge. What do you guys think about all this? Please let me know in the comments section down below, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content from me. And with that all being said and done, my name is Res Unleashed, the resident who is worried about her friends, viewers, and everybody else involved over this drama, and is unleashing her stance on it into the world. And I will catch you all next time.